The stimulus to good project management. Compensation events. Compensation events are the NEC3 name for what would traditionally be called claims and variations, which may entitle the contractor to additional time and cost. Unsurprisingly, this is the area of contract administration which traditionally causes the most disputes, so the authors of NEC3 have really tried to nail this area in terms of stating precise definitions of what a compensation event is, a clear process with strict maximum timescales for their notification, submission, and acceptance, and more objective criteria by which the additional time and cost are assessed. So let's consider the compensation event definitions. Whatever member of the NEC3 family you are using, all the core compensation events are listed in one place in the individual contract. This place is clause 60.1. There are a few other compensation events elsewhere in a contract depending on which main and secondary options are chosen. In the engineering and construction contract, 19 core compensation events are listed. 15 of these compensation events are because the employer, project manager or supervisor have either not fulfilled an obligation stated elsewhere in the contract, or in the case of the project manager, given an instruction changing something. For example, change the works information by issuing, let's say, new drawings. The remaining 4 compensation events are for unexpected physical conditions, weather, insurance-type events, and force majeure-type events, which might otherwise cause the contract to be terminated. These are not directly in control of either party, although they may be able to influence them in some way. Regardless, for a contractor, the first hurdle that they have to overcome to gain compensation is to demonstrate that it is one of the listed compensation events. Let's now look at the process for notification, submission, and acceptance. Except if the project manager should notify, the contractor has a maximum of 8 weeks to notify from when he becomes aware of a compensation event. If he does not notify within this 8-week timescale, he has no entitlement to the additional time or cost which he would otherwise have. The project manager has 1 week to respond, and if he or she agrees with the contractor, will then instruct a quotation. The project manager should notify a compensation event when he or she gives a relevant instruction and instruct the contractor to submit a quotation at the same time as notifying it. The contractor then has a maximum of 3 weeks to submit the quotation, and the project manager a maximum of 2 weeks to respond. Hopefully this will be accepted, but if not, the project manager can either instruct the contractor to resubmit the quotation or notify the contractor that he or she will make his own assessment. If the project manager does not respond to a compensation event notification or a quotation within the 2 weeks allowed, then following a reminder, that communication is treated as being accepted, however spurious it turns out to be. The employer would have to go to the adjudicator to overturn this. Although it is beyond the scope of this e-learning course to go into much detail, let's briefly look at how compensation events are assessed. In simple terms, for time, the contractual completion date is put back by the same time that the contractor is delayed. For cost, the contractor is entitled to the additional defined cost he can demonstrate is associated with that compensation event, plus his tendered fee percentage. This fee percentage should cover his off-site overheads and profit. For both the assessment of time and cost, the current accepted program is the base document to evaluate what has changed in terms of method, then resource, and then time and the cost of this resource. This is another reason why having an up-to-date, agreed, accepted program is so important. As with open book accounting and keeping the accepted program up to date, operating the compensation event procedure correctly does call for a higher level of professionalism and management resource. However, when done so, it has resulted in a rolling final account as the contract progresses, and hence rapid agreement on completion of the contract. Further, NEC3 encourages pre-assessment of compensation events wherever possible. To do this, the work has to be planned out in order to be priced. Due to the work then being done more efficiently, this has resulted in time and cost savings for the employer, and additional profit to the contractor. A true win-win.